touching on an aspect of the human situation. What I'll get into here, what's coming, feels like is coming through is some of what I'll get into anyway is what separates for us as humans from the animal kingdom, and what differentiates or makes it so that humans seem to be so different than any other animal on the planet. Very interesting subject, and I love it. And there's a few, I think, key things to touch on. And where this kind of stemmed from for me is in our ability to learn or contemplate and discover things without needing necessarily life experience. So we can actually sit and dream situations and rationalize what may or may not be wise decisions before anything actually happens. We can make little movies in our minds and simulate scenarios and situations where we can kind of test out in our head. We can kind of test out in our head what to do in a scenario or in a situation, and we can make decisions based on that. Now, I'm not saying right here that that's always the best thing to do. I'll get into a little bit more in a minute. I'm not going to make you watch me blow my nose. Give me 1 second. But just kind of like touching on the subject, there's a balance with everything, and again, we'll get into that kind of stuff more. But now, the ability to do this is really interesting because we have the ability to heal ourselves. And when in the conversation about karma, karma being like loops of behavior that we do, or reactions to things that happen towards us in ways that are attached in a way. So we're either attached in a way of being like clinging to things in a way that's toxic. So we have, toxic moods, and then our behaviors cause trouble and struggle in the world and things like that. And then in other aspects where we repel things and resist things that come into our path, as opposed to moving as in a flow with life where there's a little bit more relaxed of a mood with life, and we don't suffer, by little things that aren't necessary for us to suffer from. So that's real quick on karma. These loops that are in place within us that keep playing themselves out over and over and over again in our lives. These reactions that we commonly have towards life, these judgments we have towards life, things that happen in people and all that kind of stuff that are binding to us. They bind us to the world of suffering. So that's what I mean by karma. We have the ability to at least begin to work this stuff out without any life experience to actually happen, right? So we can dream about it, we can think about it, we can remember situations after they happen, and then we can work them out and realize where the loop is, where that karma is, and release it energetically. And this is like a powerful tool in our awakening, it doesn't even have to be an awakening, in our happiness, in our lives. If we can honestly look at ourselves And the aspects of our lives that cause us suffering inside, no matter how justifiable it is, if we suffer, we suffer. So let's just get really clear on that. If you're not feeling good inside, if you're, and these are, experiences like anger and, depression and resentment, frustration, even like judging other people in like a cruel kind of way, or like, blaming, these kinds of things. These are all things that don't feel good when we experience them. And what I'm getting at here is like, why bother? Now I can understand the argument of, saying that those things are like fuel for action that's necessary in the world. Just as an example, like, injustices that happen in the world, anger can be fuel to like do something about that and stop that kind of stuff from happening. Which is kind of another thing, but I'll mention it here because I'm sure it's whoever might be listening to this is going to want to touch on that. So, that being said, that kind of a feeling is necessary and a good thing. There's kind of like a few different ways you can look at these types of feelings, and this is one of them, is as calls to action. But we don't need to suffer from those calls to action. We can realize those alarms and be like, that was not right, and we got to do something about it. But you don't have to suffer inside from that happening. It doesn't have to bring you down. In fact, it should empower you to raise the vibration of whatever is going on. So you go into the situation to resolve it, but in the mood of raising the vibration so it doesn't happen anymore. So you can change people's minds towards the actions that they perform in a way that resolves it on a grander scale than just like stopping that one incident from happening. Hopefully this makes sense. Again, this isn't necessarily what I want to get into. Maybe I'll do another video on this, and I think I've done other ones on that before. But really what I want to focus on here is this human aspect that's unique, that allows us to resolve things kind of in our dream world. That's like one of the blessings, depending on how it's used, blessing or curse, is the ability to dream, to fantasize, to imagine, is really what I'm talking about. And this is something that like shamans for centuries have used for healing, is this ability to imagine, this ability to dream. And it's like a whole nother realm of reality, because it's reality in the sense of it's a place that's experienced. Your memory, you experience your memory. You experience that dream world inside where you're imagining, and that can conjure illnesses in the body. It can conjure, emotions in the mind, and so many things. You can cry from a memory. It's something that's not actually happening in this physical world that we experience with our senses. It's another sense that we have where we actually experience something. In that sense, it's real. There's a whole nother dialogue about, the world is a dream. There's a whole nother thing about that, that maybe another time we'll get into there also. But here, this is a contextual thing, where this is something that we experience is our imagination, and this whole dimension of experience is it's a pretty remarkable thing. That being said, we do have the ability to shift things within us and resolve things within us. So as things arise and come up, we can make moves towards releasing these energies. And I'm pretty sure I put a bunch of stuff out about what releasing is and what that's like. But just to breeze over it quick here is, to give something practical. Let's say we catch a karma and we realize it. That's already a big deal. Admitting what the cause is, admitting what the origin of it is, and stopping the justification of what has kept it in place, because these things are only kept in place by our own mental will. So we hold on to these things for whatever reason. They make us feel comfortable. They make us feel safe. These karmic loops that are in place that cause suffering for us. And so discovering that there's a loop there in the first place is huge, and then admitting that we've been justifying it somewhere within us, and then finding out what that justification is, and then letting go of that, and no longer holding on to that justification that's kept it in place, no matter what it is. If it's causing suffering, let go. It can still arise in a way as, again, like I said before, a signal, as a call to action. If that's a necessary thing to happen, it will be there. So don't feel like if you release it, then you're losing something that you need, but all you're letting go of is your attachment to it. That's all that you're letting go of it. You're not like removing it from ever coming up if it's necessary, like those signals to do something about a toxic situation or a dangerous situation if you have the power to. You don't lose any of that. You don't lose anything by not being attached. You don't not have the ability to love because you're not attached. This is a commonly, I think, a fear that comes through in hearing about this kind of stuff, because the mind is going to come through and try and create justifications for holding on to these things. It's going to want to hold on to them because for whatever reason it enjoys doing that. But it's important to know this, that letting go of everything doesn't mean you lose anything. You don't lose anything by not being attached. In fact, you create a greater relationship with everything that you have, because you can be with it in a more present and greater aspect, and a more healthy emotional space inside. You can have life experiences, even like dangerous life experiences that happen. You have a healthier relationship with them where you don't get wounded by them, at least on the energetic realm, where even if you are wounded by a life experience physically, it doesn't stick to you on an emotional level. And this is like a really powerful thing to do, where life doesn't scathe you, where you actually become stronger and you grow in a way from life, where you move towards a greater joy no matter what is happening in your life, by not being attached to things and not holding on to things, and not creating these like kind of engravings on your consciousness that cause all different kinds of suffering. This is one of the aspects that we can really take charge of, as one of the qualities of being a human. We can really take charge of this and use it's commonly looked at as like our memory is like not really a good thing because it keeps us from the present moment, but it's a tool that we have that we can use to help us not have to like run through the gauntlet of life every day to learn, in the moments where things are happening. That's great to happen too. That's amazing to happen too. It should be there too. And that's the best place to learn, in my opinion, but we have this other tool that we can use to reflect on our lives and situations that happen and grow from them, removed from situations where we're going to react in toxic ways and cause more trouble or struggle or anything like that in the world. And this is kind of about taking advantage of that gift, of that tool that we for whatever reason have as being humans. It's kind of remarkable. It's really beautiful. And a lot about this path is about, not renouncing any of the qualities of being a human, but putting them to good use. The memory isn't a bad thing. Our human desires even aren't bad things. They're tools for the spirit to be freed from all the stuff that the mind holds on to. Right? Everything is a tool for our freedom, for our release, for our awakening, for our joy. everything that happens in life can be used, can draw back to a way for us to find a way of living in a greater way, or in a happier way, or in a way that's a greater experience for us and of us in the world. So let's take advantage of this and embrace the human, qualities, and figure out where we can really utilize all the blessings of what it is to be a human for the greater good of the entire planet. We can improve every situation we find ourselves in, every scenario we walk into, if we have awareness, if we have humility, if we have patience, if we have these qualities about us. Every situation that we are a part of, we can enhance and improve, whether that's a social situation, or whether it's an ecological situation, or anything else. We can use our human quality and ability to set intentions. We can use that ability to beautify the world, to make every situation that we're a part of a better situation, even if it's in a tiny little way. So it's something we can do. And why not do that? Our life is precious. Our life is a gift that we get to experience existence. We've been given this jewel for some reason. For whatever reason, you're here, you're alive. You're experiencing life and existence. Think about that for a second. So do it to the greatest degree that you can. Live to the greatest degree that you can. Work through your fears. Work through your resistance. Work through your resentments, anger, and aggression, depression. Look deeply into all these aspects and discover something about yourself, of why those things exist within you, of what the cause was, and work through them, releasing them. Empty yourself of what causes suffering in you and in the world. Live to a grand degree. Why do anything else but beautify every moment that you're a part of? I'm grateful to be alive. And if you're not grateful, you can be. If you're experiencing sorrow, there is a way out. There's always hope. It may take work, it may take a lot of work, but there's always a way. And a lot of it comes down to how open is your heart. I hope this finds you. I hope this brings you home. We are amazing beings, humans, because we can tap into the ultimate divine spirit that exists in everything, that connects to everything. We can live in and from that space as a human. So let's do it. What else are we going to do with our lives? Are we going to go along with just what social standards say we should do with our lives? We can. And within that, even, we can live grand lives. This isn't about an exciting life. This is about how real are you? How truly are you living? How honest are you with yourself? How authentic is your expression of life? Thank you for listening. Namaste.